right, we're back after the fucking finals video, and I think I've changed the vibe enough to call it a different series. I feel like we'll call it a different season. That'll kind of ruin the SOI. That's the search op. No, SEO. Yeah, but mainly because I thought that like people saw season 2, they were like, oh well, I'll watch season 1 later, and they never watch it because that's what I do. And I do kind of want to give views on this, as much as I hate to admit it. But we're here, so. Welcome to Meth Head Talk Show. Flashing lights, woo! And I know I always have an excuse for this, but this one comes out later than I intended to upload a video because I had the video that I had completely cut, but then I didn't have any motivation to like actually edit the pictures and shit in it, so I was like, we'll just make a new thing. And mainly it's because like I needed to make like an AMV for a bit, but I didn't want to make it, so. Alright, smoke that made it look bitch made, so we're gonna try it again. I haven't seen it a lot, but I grew up, or not when I saw it a lot when I was like a teenager in the punk scene, so I'm gonna make the joke anyway. But like, motherfuckers be hating on folk punk, right? But, what the? Alright, well, I spent exactly 5 minutes trying to fix it, and I couldn't, so we are here. What I was gonna say is, growing up in the punk scene, at least for Southern California, there was always hate on folk punk, but none of the folk punk artists near me have fought for pedophilia, so like, I'm just saying, dog. So I was watching some marine biology shit, and I heard a gas phrase, right? Which was cephalopods of comparable size. I don't know if it's an album name or a band name, but it's definitely some dope ska shit. So, shout out fucking Stephanie Simon and Lorraine Boissonnault. I probably butchered those names, but they're the fucking writers that came up with cephalopods of comparable size. So fucking shout out them from Real Science. That's where I found them. Lorraine also does the voiceover. Watching some old Donald Glover shit when he was doing like stand-up comedy, and I was listening to his album, and it may have been his only album. I don't know, I don't really care that much, but like he was talking about how he feels bad for white people because they can't say the N-word, right? So in honor of him, I'm gonna say it. No, I'm kidding. But I do understand it. Obviously not from black person because look at my skin. I'm damn near albino, but I do understand it from the perspective of faggot. Faggot is so good, and like I kind of feel bad for straight people because they don't get to add it to their sentences and make shit sound real good, right? Because like I can't speak on what the N-word will be in seasoning for gay people. I feel like. We're like, faggot is like the Starbucks coffee syrup of slurs. This is gonna end up being a very music-heavy episode, but I want to talk about motherfucking Chase USA. Shout out him, he's the fucking GOAT. Let him use his music for an outro, and I'm probably gonna do it for the middle, which isn't necessarily clear about him, but like he seems cool. I'm sure he's fine with it. However, like I know I'm biased. Like, I feel like Chase is genuinely making great shit, bro. Obviously, see my videos, I'm a fan of, like, mixing rock with rap in a way that doesn't suck dick, right? So, obviously, I'm gonna be partial to it. But, having, like, the Midwest emo being brought in sonically to, like, more rap influences rather than just in, like, the vibe of it, like, young, lean and shit like that, I feel like it's really dope. And hearing things like, and just hearing that shit in like a Young Child Soldier or the shit that's popular right now, the Cowboy Bebop man did something. It's just really dope, and how he's doing it sounds so fucking sick and so genuinely unique. So like, regardless of my biases, you should. However, I do understand how cool it is of him to let me use his music for free. So as payment, if he wants head, I will give it. And I did check to make sure he was 18 before I said this, so we're all good. Also, if you worry about it, I seem a little anxious in the recording. I am currently recording this in my virtual office because the interview that I had to conduct not so up. So I'm sitting here to the next one. So, gotta keep doing a pretty music-heavy episode. So I want to talk about motherfucking Mouse and Angelo, right? And his song All American Saints. That's just been stuck in my head since like, I don't know, last week, right? The song goes fucking crazy. I like the old fucking folk feeling, right? But I do have one criticism. When he says this shit, made those who made their killing off the poor.
Saint Luigi, would you put the fear of the Lord in the billionaires who made their killing off the poor?
Cool and all. However, it should have been made their shillings killing off the poor. You're welcome. I fixed your song. I will accept thanks and credits in only the Instagram reel description. You're welcome. But shout out to Angelo for having for being part of like a current little era, I don't know how long it'll last, of like white dudes with guitar with like acoustic guitars in grass fields not being obnoxious. And like I haven't like heard of that since like 60s, 70s with like Phil Ox and Bob Dylan and like Janis Joplin. That's not a guy, but I can't really think of anybody else. So oh, Bruce Springsteen. Bruce Springsteen, that works. We're good. And he did the charity thing recently, so even better. But hey, shout out to him for being a part of it. And while we're talking about music, as I said at the beginning, so we're gonna repeat it again now, right? I want to talk about the Hate Rich Cunts remix. We Despise the Bourgeoisie. It's a Mud Rat song. Also, shout out for that name. That name is absolutely fucking fire. It's a remix name. I think it's just so funny. But they got hyphen on the remix, and they had Magneto line on it, and like, brother, that shit went crazy. I'm gonna play it here.
I grew up thinking Professor X was right, but apartheid was enforced by military might. The suffragettes were just too radical at the time, so why was Magneto wrong to say that we should fight?
And like, don't get me wrong, Mudrat killed the original song. All the verses was great, but I'm a fucking nerd punk. Right? I like nerdy shit, so you give me a line about the strongest fucking freedom fighter in comic books, and I'm gonna come. I'm sorry. I think it's kind of crazy that Andrew Callahan's apology for being a sex pest. I know this is super fucking late, but I don't think I was watching Andrew when the controversy came out. I'm not even sure if I was making videos when it came out, but I think it's crazy that apology is like probably the best YouTuber apology I've seen, because truthfully it is the most like basic shit of all time. It's just him taking accountability and being like, I'm sorry, this was wrong, I've been making these mistakes, I'll work on it, which isn't that tough to say. And then truthfully it's like the apology we all make in fucking elementary school or whatever, grade 1 or whatever the fuck you weird Europeans call it. You lesser than European is harsh. If you're British or French, go my homeboy and saw a double feature of Iron Lung and then Return to Silent Hill, and like, you know what I'm gonna say about the indie horror movie, bro. I don't know what you expected. I loved it. It was a lot of, well, I liked it, right? I didn't necessarily like the implications to the lore of Iron Lung, but I'm like kind of a nerdy bitch, and I like it more when it's like I like when it's like, oh, it's making him insane. It's like making him, which, you know, you're gonna go insane in that situation anyways, but like it's gotta make it worse. But then just to have like the weird magic blood roots kind of fucked with me, right? However, I was with my homie, and he was really horny for seeing Markiplier covered in blood with veins on it, and I was like, you know what? I gotta see it. But then Return to Silent Hill was awesome. It was a terrible movie. It sucked ass. The ending was literally, it was all in the main character's head, but it was awesome. It was so fucking funny. There were like so many times where I was like watching the movie like fucking, like, dude, that shit was awesome. A little freak baby the main chick had. She had 4 fucking names. Pyramid Head had like a weird, like sexually charged scene with a random monster on a table. That might just be because I was once again with the horny dude. That's how I saw it. That's what it kind of looked like too. So like, not even kind of. The weird imaginary baby was also funny when it growled like a fucking Band-Aid little nightmares thing. Also, this is going on. He's on my back. There is just something funny about like an earnestly hit movie. Like, I feel like the people who made it had passion for either the original games or the movies, and it really just makes the fact that the movie sucks really funny. It's like, it's kind of why, like, The Lost Pastor isn't that funny, right? Because The Lost Pastor is meant to be shit, but when it's something like that where it's like, it is all shit, but he's like really trying, they're like, I don't know if it's he, but they're really trying to make something that makes it funnier. Having like the main character look like Ashton Kutcher, dude, I don't know why I thought that the whole time. He might not even really look like that, just because I watched a lot of that 70s show. The entire time in my mind, I'm just thinking of fucking Calso quotes. like talking to this Pyramid Head, and then Pyramid Head's holding panties, and he's like, "You're a god." I don't want to talk about how powerful G seems in like the Street Fighter world, and I only know a little bit of lore, so like that's not confirm it, but like based on what I do know and based on what I see, G seems absurd, even just based on the fact that he does like 8 explosions by pointing his finger. Because like you don't know any Street Fighter lore, right? Is that like you get the less things you use to produce a projectile, the stronger you are. That's why only like Goken and Akuma can shoot one-handed like fireballs. Which, fun fact, if you didn't know, they are fireballs. They're like they're kinetic energy. That's like form. But he's able to form so much kinetic energy it explodes with just his finger all of the time, as well as imbuing it with magma. And like we've seen imbuing shit with shit, right? With like Bison and Ken. But except for like Bison shooting like the psycho energy ball, or him imbuing the kinetic force with fire, which or kind of imbuing like the kinetic force with fire with like a flaming Hadouken, which he kind of already does with his fist. You know, like they can't like that's their whole thing. That's their whole gimmick, right? But G just does that like whenever he wants. He can also make like a field of the energy, and he can turn it into a projectile whenever he wants. He's also super strong because he's probably Q. So you get absurd strength plus the imbued force plus how like he can just make projectiles with whatever part of his body. He could probably fucking hip thrust you in the air and you would die through fucking cutting that sucked. What the fuck? I don't know, bro. I just want to default. So like it's just based on like what I've seen him do. He is like the strongest motherfucker in that game, like by far. Besides like Bill, who is an experiment and basically a god. Also, despite my prejudice against white women, I do want to become Michaela's gay best friend, and I will queen the fuck out if necessary. She just seems so fucking fun to be around. I don't know, bro. Also, shout out the author and illustrator Zombie Makeout Club. They were swinging out against like the ice shit, and some people were like, just stick to drawing hot chicks and t-shirts, and so they had a very funny response where they drew hot chicks and t-shirts, but with like hot girls melt ice and like fill your local ice agent and shit on it. And I found that as a very funny response. And I just went, well, I don't know much else to say. Welcome to another dog show. It's been real. It's been fun. It's been real fun.